Close your eyes and try to remember the smell. It was a mix of stale popcorn, ozone from warm circuit boards, and maybe a hint of floor cleaner that wasn't quite doing its job. If you grew up in the early 90s, that was the smell of Sunday afternoon. And in the center of that hazy room, there was always a crowd. You couldn't even see the screen, but you could hear it. You heard the "Round 1, fight!" You heard the rhythmic slapping of plastic buttons. And then you heard the sound that defined a generation. Hadouken! Welcome back to Retro Dads Gaming. Today, we aren't just talking about a video game. We're talking about a cultural earthquake. We're talking about Street Fighter II, the original friendship destroyer. The game that taught us how to talk trash long before we had headsets or internet connections. If you remember putting your quarter on the cabinet glass to claim your spot in line, this one is for you. Before we had matchmaking algorithms and skill-based lobbies, we had the quarter on the glass. For the younger viewers, that was our version of a digital cue. If you wanted to play the winner, you put your coin on the dashboard of the cabinet. It was a silent contract. It meant, I'm next, and I'm probably gonna ruin your win streak. Street Fighter II didn't just arrive in 1991, it took over. Before this, fighting games were, well, they were clunky. They were Karate Champ, but Capcom changed the physics of fun. Suddenly, you had 8 distinct characters from around the globe. You had a sumo wrestler, an electric beast from Brazil, and a rhythmic military man with hair that defied gravity. But more importantly, you had the special move. The first time you saw someone successfully pull off a dragon punch, it felt like they were performing actual magic. It wasn't just about pressing a button, it was about the quarter circle forward motion. It was a physical skill, and if you couldn't do it, you were just lunch for the guy who could. In 2025, we talk about character tiers and metagame balancing. In 1992, we just picked the guy who looked the coolest or the one whose moves we could actually remember. You had Ryu and Ken, the icons, the baseline, the if you can play one, you can play both guys. But then you had the specialists. You had Chun-Li, who taught us that speed could kill. You had Dalsim, the original zoner who made you want to throw your controller because he could punch you from across the screen while sitting cross-legged. And then there was Guile. Every arcade had one Guile guy. He would sit in the corner, crouch down, waiting for you to jump so he could hit you with a flash kick. It was the birth of the turtle playstyle. It was infuriating, it was cheap, and it was exactly why we kept coming back. We didn't just want to win, we wanted to humiliate the guy who was playing cheap. Then came 1992, the year the arcade came home. The Super Nintendo port of Street Fighter II is arguably one of the most important home releases in history. For the first time, we didn't need a pocket full of quarters. We just needed a couch and a friend we were willing to stop speaking to for a week. This is where the Friendship Destroyer title really earned its wings. In the arcade, there was a level of decorum. You didn't want to get into a real fight in front of the 7-Eleven, but in your living room, all bets were off. Stop using the same move. You're just button mashing. The controller's broken. We all had those excuses. We blamed the D-pad, we blamed the lag, which didn't exist on a CRT, and we blamed cheap moves. E-Honda's 100-hand slap or Blanka's electricity were the ultimate tests of a middle school friendship. If you won using only those moves, you weren't a champion, you were a pariah. Here's a bit of trivia for the fellow nerds. Did you know combos were actually a mistake? During the development of Street Fighter II, the lead designer noticed a bug in the code that allowed players to chain certain attacks together before the animation finished. He thought it was too difficult for anyone to actually use, so he left it in. He was wrong. Players found it, mastered it, and created the foundation for every fighting game ever made. That accident turned Street Fighter II into a simple game of rock, paper, scissors into a high-speed game of chess. It introduced the skill ceiling. It meant that even if you knew the moves, you could still get absolutely dismantled by someone who knew the timing. For us dads, that was the moment we realized that gaming was becoming a sport. It wasn't just about reacting, it was about studying. It was the first time we felt the grind to get better. So why are we still talking about a 35-year-old game? Why do we still get excited when we hear the first 3 notes of Ryu's theme? It's because Street Fighter II captured a specific kind of lightning in a bottle. It was the perfect balance of easy to learn, impossible to master. It was colorful, it was loud, and it felt global. It made the world feel a little smaller. But mostly, it's about the memories. It's about the Saturday mornings with your brother. It's about the kid at the mall who seemed like a god because he could finish the game on 1 credit. It's about the transition from being a kid who just liked cool characters to being a gamer who understood strategy. Today, we have Street Fighter VI with its amazing graphics and world tours. But every time I see Ryu tighten his headband, I'm 10 years old again, standing in a dark arcade, heart racing, putting my last quarter on the glass. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. Street Fighter II wasn't just a game for us, it was the beginning of the competitive spirit that still drives us today. But I want to hear from you. Who was your main? Were you a Ryu purist, or were you the guy everyone hated because you played as Blanka? And more importantly, who was the one friend you actually destroyed a friendship with over a perfected Dragon Punch? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button and join the Retro Dads community. We're tackling the backlog one classic at a time. Until next time, keep your guard up. I'll see you in the next round.